I have your attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
What's up, y'all? What's going on? What's happening? We are going to have a little afternoon delight, afternoon live stream. Just me and some of you guys hanging out in the afternoon. Nobody else, just me. We're not roasting anybody's theaters today. We'll do some, Q&A, stuff like that. We'll have a little good old time today. What's going on my screen? Okay. Let's see, who do we have in the chat today? Anybody interesting? Where are you guys from? Leave some comments. Otherwise, I'll just go over the weekly recap. Like, what did I cover this week that might have been interesting? First off, we're going to cover... Hold on, let me pause this. Let me go through my topics really quick. My topics here. Okay. Oh, I see some of you guys are popping up here all of a sudden. What's up, No Name to Fame? No Name to Fame is part of the Patreon group. If you guys are not part of my Patreon, feel free to join Patreon. You'll find links down below in this video's description. Or you can go to patreon.com/Shane Lee. You can join for as little as $1 a month. But yes, the Ascendo review. I guess we could talk about the Ascendo review really briefly right now. I did drop that review yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, it was the day before yesterday. I've been sitting on that review for, I think, about 2-3 months now since I've been evaluating the entire system, which I am clearly a fan of. If you saw the video, I'm a fan of those speakers. You know, after leaving the cinema in Germany, you know, they said I could grab, you know, whatever speakers I wanted to bring home. So I opted for what I thought would be more aligned to the subscribers that I have here, you know, financial wise, money wise, affordability wise. I think the 6s are kind of a really good sweet spot between the size that you get, you know, for the people that want this type of speaker. I think this is it's a great option, especially at this price point. I mean, they're $1,300 a speaker. If you want the angled ones, they're $1,340. If you want to step it up, it's $2,200 for the 10 inches. But, you know, my whole thing was going with the 6-inch models, which I think for my space, which is like, it's not a very big space. I got a smallish space. It's only like 15 by 16. So it's fairly smallish space. It's just a spare bedroom. So, which I know a lot of you guys probably have rooms the same size. And I know that's a question I get asked a ton of times. How big is the room? That's the answer. I've answered that question so many times in the past, especially in those home theater tour videos. I've answered that question, yet I still get asked that question all the time. But that is this is why I went with the 6-inch models, which are called the sixes. These and the cool thing about going with a speaker this size rather than like big gigantic bookshelves like the Perlissons or the Rendels is that if you do live in these, you know, spare bedroom spaces like I have, you can fit a lot of these speakers in this room and you can cover a lot of space on your walls with this size speaker, where it doesn't take up and overpower your room, and you still get that really nice direct sound, very distinct sound from every single one of your speakers, especially if you have one of these high count processors like a Storm Audio or a Trinov, or, you know, AV10, AV1H from Denon, these high count processors. It's not like you have a giant, Arendo Sound 1723 hanging off your wall, which is massive, by the way. You can fit a lot more speakers in your space. And I know me and John from Trinov he mentioned this earlier in an older podcast that we did, where some people might say 5 channels is good enough, 7 channels is good enough, 1 surround channel per wall is good enough. And yeah, for most people, I think it is. But the thing is that when you add more speakers on your walls, like if you go instead of 1 side surround channel, you can go to like 2, if your processor supports it. That's just, it fills in the gaps between when you get sounds that are transitioning and panning between each speaker. So that is one of the reasons why I wanted to kind of maximize my space with the size speakers that I chose. Because like now if you sit in my room, which is not big, you go in there and I just get just such a good smooth movement of audio between every single speaker in my space. And with the wide channels and the center back channel is like a huge speaker. I don't know why people don't talk about it more. Probably because most AVRs don't support it. But the center back channel is a big thing, man. There's like so much info that happens literally right behind your head. I'm not talking about behind your head, like over here behind your head, but directly behind your head. And if you hear somebody walking through a doorway, if it's in the mix, if somebody's walking in the doorway, though, like behind you, usually I notice this a lot in movies. Like if somebody's like just walking off, they're closing a door or something like that, and they go behind you in the back end of the screen, in the rear of the screen, visually, audibly. It happens like right behind your head. It's like almost like real life because it happens behind you rather than filling up this whole, you're trying to get a phantom image between your left and rear right speakers. I mean, obviously, and the good thing about having that center back channel is that if you are on a wing seat and you don't have the center back channel behind your head, you still get the feeling that it's coming from the center portion of the rear of the room. If that makes sense, if you know what I'm talking about. It's like having left center right up front, but left center right in the back, if that makes sense to you. That's a big thing. That's why part of the channel count, which is how I put the channel count in the video, I said 13.2.4. I know some folks in that video said I counted only 10 speakers or 8 speakers or 7 speakers. Where did you get 13 speakers from? I got 13 speakers because I counted every single speaker that I had. I didn't specify where all 13 speakers were because I had the 8, was it, hold on, 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 10 lower channels, plus I had the 3 extra 10-inch models that I didn't mount, but I still counted, which would count as 13. So I had 13 lower bed channels, and then the 4 height channels, which would be 13.4 if you counted the subwoofers. I had 2 subwoofers, so 13.24, which should answer some questions if you guys want to watch this stream at some point in the future. So that's the answer to that. But the Ascendos, man, such a good speaker. I do wish that they got a bit more output, but even their bigger speakers or their subwoofers, whatever specs they specify them as, if it goes down to 80 hertz or 75 hertz, it's a pretty hard cutoff. So they really intend for you to use their speakers with their subwoofers, which are rated to blend seamlessly with the speakers. Or in this case, like they're like real true satellite speakers because they don't really go down that low. They're just like 80 hertz and it's pretty hard cutoff. Or in my room, it kind of fluctuated between 80 and 100 hertz depending on what speaker I was measuring. So it's really a true kind of 80 hertz cutoff. Whereas like, you might see some other speakers where it might say 80 hertz, but if you measured it, it could probably go down to like 60, maybe 70 hertz. But this is a pretty true spec from what I had measured in my spot. So their whole thing was, the speakers and then the kick bass. And then if you wanted to go infrasonic, you could add the infrasonic as well. But yes, I went for, these are going to be my new reference speakers for the time being. I mean, I am kind of reviewing the new Martin Logans and the XTZs. What is it? XTZ M8? M8 or M6, one of them. Those are also kind of theater centric. I got a motorcycle driving by. Very home theater centric focused designs. The Martin Logan's kind of like a hi-fi home theater type of design, of course, that you guys know. But definitely, if you guys get a chance to check out Ascendo speakers at all, and you guys got a smaller space like I do, I think the sixes are going to be a great option. Or if you just want to put these speakers in your living room, because a lot of people don't like to have giant speakers in their living rooms, and I think these speakers are awesome options for that. And they're not like they're just like a little black box. They don't have any kind of special adornments or any special aesthetics to them that make them attractive. They're just a black box. And, the coaxial driver in them as well is, since they're like time aligned with the tweeter and the mid range in there, it's like the I don't know if I came across in the video as explaining it properly, but it's such a direct sound where it really hits you very discreetly, if that makes sense. You don't get any kind of smearing between the tweets and the mid range or the bass drivers. It's a very it just comes at you like a laser. Like all the speakers come at you like a laser. They're very, very, very direct and identifiably easy to hear surround effects, which I'm trying to think of another speaker that sounded quite like that. I can't really think of something like that. I mean, I've had a lot of speakers that have really, really crispy detail, like the Perlison or the Focals, that really have that kind of the same characteristic as that very direct sound quality to it. But those are much bigger speakers. They're much expensive speakers. This is a very small speaker, and it's very man. It's weird because when you come into the room, you normally I would have like the Bowers and Wilkins, or I had the Rendels or the Perlisons or whatever it is. I would have these big speakers kind of like sitting sitting against my wall or to the left and right sides of my screen, also in the back. So it's like you would walk into my room and you would get kind of overwhelmed, or else I would get overwhelmed by looking at these big black boxes everywhere. And yeah, they threw out pretty amazing sound quality. But if you really want to just kind of have like, when you sit in a space and you can't see the speakers, and all you hear is just sound shooting at you, like a really direct sound, that's the kind of experience that you get with these type of speakers that are shallow mount. They go on your wall. And I'm sure you guys know, if you do in wall speakers as well, you're kind of getting the same experience, where it's just like you're not obstructed or obscure. You don't have anything in your periphery where you're looking at speakers. You're not looking at that center channel all the time. You don't see the left and right speakers. Because when you know that there's a speaker there, you can kind of like see it at the corner of your eye, like the left and right surround speakers or whatever, left and right front speaker, center speaker. You kind of know where the sound's coming from. Like if I'm watching TV in my living room, I know where the sound's coming from because I can see the speaker. In the back of my mind, it kind of takes me away sometimes if I'm watching something, because I know where the sound's coming from, and I'm kind of focusing. Oh, am I hearing that car from the left speaker right now? Whereas if you can't really tell where the speakers are there in your room, it's like just it's kind of like just walking outside in the street. You don't know where these sounds are coming from. You can place where the car is coming from down the street, or you can hear a helicopter or an airplane just flying overhead somewhere. It's kind of the same experience when you can't see your speakers. It elevates the home theater experience in a way that visually, if you know your speakers are in your room, it's different. So also part of the reasons why I want to get these on-wall speakers, which these Sendos, I feel, fills that gap for me, for my space. Even if I had a bigger room, something like a gigantic fucking garage or something like that, I'd probably still go with like an on-wall or in-wall or something, or at least have them hidden. So that is the Ascendo the sixes, and they do use soft dome coaxial tweeters drivers. The and then the 10-inch models, they use a coaxial compression driver. So there is a difference between the two, which I kind of knew, but I didn't bring it up in the video. But the sixes are soft dome coax, and then the tens are compression. I know there was some confusion in the comment section, so I had to confirm with the Ascendo guys about that. And soft dome on the smaller sixes and fives, and then from the 10 on up, 10, 12, 15, either coax or beryllium coaxial drivers. And then if you guys had missed the subwoofer review, the SV12s, which I briefly mentioned in the Ascendo 17 channel video, that's a separate video. I didn't really talk about that much in the speaker video because I figured I did a separate review on that. So if you guys missed that video, I did that I think the week before this one. So that's also up on the channel. And I got some pretty good views on it. So apparently some of you guys are interested in the brand. So that's cool. It's always good to know that some of these other brands that aren't so well known, people start to see them, and people start to notice them because they're great performing speakers. These Sendos are. So definitely check out these Sony speakers if you haven't checked them out yet, or if you have a dealer nearby or something like that. Definitely check them out. Check out the website as well. And if you haven't, or if you have, definitely leave your comments down below. Let me know how you feel about these Ascendo speakers, because I think they're great speakers. So that is the Ascendo speakers. Let's see who else is up in the chat here. What's up from West Yorkshire, UK? What's up, Cool Dip? How you doing? We got another question here from GT Alexandro. Dayton UM1822. What do you think? I don't have a thought on it because I've never used it before. I mean, I've seen some subwoofers with the very similar drivers in them, so I would assume they sound pretty good from what I've heard from these other brands that are using those drivers. Marcin Matt, what's up, Marcin Matt? Hello from Poland. Big Street Cinema, what's up, Big Street Cinema? Also, another Patreon patron. Thank you for being part of Patreon there, Big Street Cinema. Monolith THX M2515 versus the Polison D15 single digit. Well, I'm pretty sure the Monolith will probably belt it out a lot louder than the single D15. The D15 is good, but I mean, listen, you got two 15s in the THX. I'm sure that'll trump it. I don't know how much the Monolith costs, but it's probably a better value compared to the D15, because I think the D15 is like $5,000, maybe like $5,500 right now. So there's definitely, that went up in price. I don't know what the Monolith is, but I'm pretty sure it's not $5,000 though. It could be, but I don't think it is. I'm happy the Ascendo review finally dropped. Yes, it did. Listen, this is probably the Ascendo review is probably one of the fastest turnarounds that I've had on a speaker review. 3 months. I still haven't finished the Pearl Sonar series. We're going on 4 months with that one. Was it 4 or 5 months now? Have been working on it though. Haterade Cowboy Cinema. What's up, Haterade? What's going on, man? Anybody know if Ascendo are using Celestion coax drivers in their surrounds? I don't know the question for that. As far as I know, they make they design their own stuff. As far as I know. I mean, that's what I'm told. That's what I'm told, at least. All right, so that's the Ascendos. So what else have we got on my little topic list here? Oh, so I did a review for Audioholics recently. Well, today, this morning. Let me see if I find a link to it really quick. I did the you guys on my YouTube membership and also on the Patreon dropped this review, I think last week. But it is now is now officially on the Audioholics channel, which is which is and the Aperta 300. Let me see if I can share the screen here. Oops, man, how do I do this? Let me share the screen. So this is I put these on. I put these on my Perlison R5T towers. I'm gonna skip this ad here. Which I know these things are kind of pricey. You know, they're pretty expensive. They're like $300 for 4 of them. So this is the ISO Acoustics. Look at that. I got 2 screens. One with me. Oh, both with me. I got the these are the ISO Acoustics review that I did over. I don't know if any of you guys have noticed, but I have changed the resolution of my videos, by the way. I'm now shooting in true 4K 4096 by 2160. I don't know if anybody noticed it, but you do get little letterbox bars on the top and bottom. So now I'm shooting in true 4K rather than UHD, which is 31. What's UHD? 3180? I don't know, but I'm getting a little bit more resolution out of my videos nowadays, even though you are getting letterbox bars. But this is the ISO Acoustics review, and listen, I really like these things. I know it's kind of like the the Sorbethane feet with the SVS, but these look much nicer. I mean, they kind of do the same thing, but you got the SVS version, which is just a thick rubber foot. This one has the kind of like the rubber foot inside the aluminum housing or magnesium housing. I don't know what it's made out of. Steel housing. These just look a lot better. They look a lot cooler. Plus, you can get different threads with them. They got the nice gunmetal, finish, and they, have a little articulation on the feet. But anyways, these things, man, they really kind of clean up your audio. Well, they clean up the bass. As far as I can tell, the biggest difference I heard was just the bass response. Just clean up the bass response, kind of just clean up the rumbling in your living room or your home theater. Yeah, I think it makes a big difference on subwoofers, but I didn't do it on the subwoofer though. I hooked up to the towers and also my center channel speaker, which I think probably makes a big difference on the center channel more if anything. If you have a center channel that sits under your television set on a TV console or stand or something like that, I think these work really well for that because it kind of keeps the resonance out of the floor and also out of your television stand. And since these things, they kind of like decouple your speakers if you have like left and rights, if you have like a pretty good 2-channel system. It kind of keeps the not the boominess, but the room interference out of your speakers. So if you don't like your room shaking that much when you're listening to music, these definitely have a more direct, cleaner, slightly punchier sound to them, provided your speakers are good sounding speakers. You'll probably notice pretty nice difference between putting these on your speakers and not. I mean, could you get something cheaper? Sure, you can get some like SVSs or those little rubber balls or whatever. But if you got some expensive speakers and you want to get some, a little upgrade to your speakers to change the sound just a little bit, plus keep them attractive at the same time, you would get something like this for sure. I mean, I know a lot of people are just like, oh man, you can get the cheap little feet or whatever. And yeah, absolutely you could. But if you got expensive speakers, you want to get some nice feet on them. These things make a difference. And that video is over on Audioholics right now. And I got the Gaia 2s. The Gaia 2s are like $300 for 4, so $600 for the pair. Or if you want to get that one that I'm showing right now on screen, that is $160 for the center channel, which I have right now. I have the Perlison R5C center channel sitting on it. in my living room, and I think it makes a pretty nice difference. Plus, it elevates it. You can kind of tilt the speaker as well. You can aim it upwards or downwards depending on how high or low your television stand is. So I'm a fan. I like them. Are they expensive? Yeah, they're kind of pricey. I'm not gonna lie. They're kind of expensive, but I like them. They worked well in my situation, and I still have them on my per listen towers. So I'm a fan. But that is the Acoustics. Have you guys ever used Acoustics? Leave your thoughts down below. Let me know if you've ever used Acoustics or if you have Acoustics. Let's see. Do you see a market growing to coaxial cinema speakers like Ascendo? And if, how is the media wide to influence on the market? Perlisten has a massive online. Perlisten has a massive online presence. Mm, does Perlisten really have a massive online presence though? I don't know. I know when did they come out? They came out like 2021. Was it 2020 or 2021? They started. I think they came out right, and yeah, it's weird because they just kind of like came out of nowhere. It was like the new THX speaker home theater brand, and I mean that caught my eye. I was like, oh shit! I was like, there's some new THX speakers, and I've been a fan of like THX speakers for the longest time because I had the M&Ks, I had the Atlantic Technologies, I had some Boston Acoustic, had some Bowers and Wilkins, other THX models, and then the Arendal Sound. I think the Arendal speakers is what caught my interest initially. Which, listen, I would say the only reason why you guys know about Arendal Sound is because I reviewed them uh, 4 years ago. Now they're fucking everywhere. They're like the newer higher end clips. I would almost have to say, like everybody has them now, and everybody wants them. Um, I had seen them on the THX website 4 years ago, and I was like, "Wow, shit, that's awesome!" And then the Perlisten popped up, kind of the same way. It was like, "Oh, these new THX speakers." I was like, "Oh shoot!" I was like, "Man, these look a lot like these Rental speakers." And I was like, "All right, well, let me reach out to these guys." And dude, I reached out to them. Audioholics, Gene had to reach out to them as well. We got them in. We did home theater videos on them, and man, they just live up to the hype. I mean, they kind of have everything that you want. Hold on, I'm going on. You're asking me about coax speakers. I'm going on about Perlisten. My bad. My bad. Hold on. Let me go back to your initial question here. Do you see an ongoing coaxial cinema speaker like this? Do I see an ongoing? Is it going to be? I don't know. Coaxial speakers have been around forever. I mean, Kef has been doing it forever. ELAC has them as well. And then I think the most popular one is going to be Kef. Kef is probably the most popular coax speaker brand out there, and I don't think they've changed the market at all to make them move towards coaxial speakers. So I don't know. I mean, at least for home cinema, I don't. Hmm. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Ascendo has their little niche right now. Their small space in the home theater market, which I think is going to be growing soon. The more that you see people getting Ascendo stuff, but the only thing that I feel that is going to keep at least this market and the coax drivers and speakers kind of growing is obviously going to be the price point. So, going back to like how Rendell kind of blew up, nobody really knew about them, how influencers had a big say in how fast they blew up, and also how Perlisten blew up, how influencers helped them as well, is well, at least for Rendell's sake, is the price point, because they were a very good value proposition, especially for the sound quality and the build quality, because I don't think any other speaker manufacturers right now, except for like Perlisten, maybe some of the higher end, like Bowers maybe, uses HDF, and a lot of people don't think about the build quality of speakers, but HDF is like a massive upgrade from your standard, like Best Buy Clip speaker or Best Buy Polk speaker. Even just like even like some of the higher end Kef speakers and Bauer speakers. Like HDF is a big difference. Once you pick up a speaker that's made out of HDF that has a really dense build quality to it, you know you're picking up quality. And I think the Reno was the first speaker that I got, and I was just like, holy shit! I was like, this bookshelf speaker is just like it felt like concrete. It was so dense. So I mean, you put like the size, I mean the price with the build quality, which isn't exorbitant for the rental speakers, for what you get. I think that really helped propel them, and those aren't coaxes. So I think it's like the design and the value proposition that you're gonna get would really help with the speaker using coax drivers. Which, listen, the Ascendos are a little bit pricey. They're pricey speakers. Yeah, they're pricey speakers. That's why I chose the sixes, because I thought of that as a value proposition for the size and the sound quality that you got, which is only $1,300, which I don't think is that much money. I know a lot of people think it's a lot of money, which, yeah, it's a lot of money, but it's not like crazy. But if you were to say like $1,300 Ascendo on-wall speaker versus like $1,300 the Rendell speaker, obviously you're just kind of getting more, build quality wise and everything. You're just kind of getting more more than a Sendo speaker, just how it feels and everything like that. Um, but that fills a different kind of demographic. That's a different kind of thing. So I think price really would play a real big difference with coaxial cinema speakers and how they would grow in the market with YouTuber influencers. So I don't think it's going to blow up anytime soon. I think more people will be talking about them, though. I will say that. But I think there's just too many people that are really into the value, inexpensive stuff. Trust me. And listen, there's nothing wrong with trying to save some money, but more people are about. At least on my channel, I'll see it all the time. Like, hey man, why would you spend X amount of dollars when you can make your own speakers? I'm like, dude, I was like, why would I make my own damn speakers? I'm not a speaker engineer. I'm not a speaker designer. What the hell would I make my own damn speakers for? I was like, why would you make your own damn speakers too? Like, you are not a speaker designer either. All these people are like, I'm making my own subwoofers. I'm making my own speakers. I'm like, dude, did you fucking go to engineering school for fucking speaker design? All of a sudden, you're just making your own shit, throwing it in boxes. I never understood that. I'm not a speaker designer. I'm not a DIY guy. I'm not making my own subwoofers. I'm not making my own damn speakers. So I leave that up to the pre-made speakers, because clearly they have R&D for that stuff. I don't have any R&D to make my own speakers. I know damn well most of you guys in this chat don't have R&D to make your own damn speakers either, and unless you're just visiting AVS forums and just taking advice from other AVS forum members and their DIY ness and their R&D. But yeah, I don't make my own speakers. I leave that to the pros. If you're a DIY guy, go make your own speakers, save some money. That's fine. But listen, if you want to get some banging speakers and you have a little bit of money, you saved your money, go pick up some Ascendos, pick up some Arendals, pick up some Perlistens. Cause yeah, great speakers. I don't think the coax market is going to change anytime soon, unless prices really drive down really affordable for materials and price. I think that's what would play a big difference in the coax cinema speaker market really blowing up as like the hi-fi home theater market. Just my thoughts, though. Could I make my own processor? I cannot make my own processor. I wish I could make my own processor. Oh, Brandon Lee says speakers are some of the easiest things to make. Speakers are easy to make. I can get a box and I could throw a tweeter and some drivers in there and some crossovers. Sure, I could do that. Of course. Like anybody can make speakers. Snoots. I ain't even making my own dinner. The fact that Brandon Lee is like really simplifying making a speaker, it's a cone wood and a bypass filter, lets me know that you don't know how to make your own speaker. And the fact that you said making a speaker is not rocket science lets me know you don't know. Lets me know that you don't know. Can't agree with you more on everything that doesn't need to be best for the buck. Not everything's best. Dude, did you ask me that question? Yeah. Yeah, there's so many people. It's I don't know if you guys ever go through like some of my videos and you just read the comments. Man, like there's so many. I'm gonna say over 50% or more is always best for buck. I don't like I get it, but like I listen, I watch a lot of videos. I watch videos on watches, I watch videos on cars. And when I read some of those comments, I don't know, I don't rarely see like best bang for like what the best bang for buck watch or and these are all listen, it's not like watches and cars and the home theater is a totally, different type of hobby from each other because they're very similar. These hobbies are expensive. This is like a home theater is an expensive hobby. Like I collect watches. Um, Watches is an expensive hobby. People collect cars. Cars is an expensive hobby. But but the um the community behind watches and cars is so it's so different than the home theater hobby, audio hobby. Like there's so much there's so much I don't wanna be like toxicness in the audio hobby, the home theater hobby, but it's like everybody's always trying to shit on somebody in home theater and AV. Like, dude, you can make your own damn speaker. Like Brandon Lee here. Like Brandon, like Brandon Lee is is giving like tech tips on how to build your own speakers. Like brands like Perlison wouldn't exist. Brands like Ascendo wouldn't exist if everything was so easy to make yourself. And there's always people like that. They're just like, dude, make your own shit. You're spending too much. Blah 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 blah. Best bang for buck. Best bang for buck. I'm like, dude, how many people? Like, if you're shopping for speakers and you're looking at an Arundel, if you're looking at um a Perlison, you are not a DIY guy. You don't care about best bang for buck or whatever. You got the money. You saved your pennies already. You got your spare change. You saved it up. You're shopping in this price bracket. But like so many people get so much hate on products that cost like over $500. It's like 500 bucks and above. People get so pissy about it. It's the craziest thing, man. It's the craziest thing in this hobby, and especially subwoofers. Go off my let me go off of my subwoofer and just money rant. Just like man, just being a YouTuber and just seeing the vitriol that I get for the products that I review because it's over X amount of dollars. Like it's like so like me and other YouTubers, we talk about this like all the time. Just so you guys look behind the scenes, being a YouTube guy, um, it's crazy the amount of hate that people put on other people or just products in general about how much they cost or what they think it can you can get better from making your own or you can get better from spending less or you can just it's always about you can get better from spending less. And it's funny because most of the I'm gonna say like 95% of the comments is just like you can get better for less, even though I've never heard that speaker. I've never heard that process you're talking about. I've never used that processor or speaker, but you can get better because I have this one. It's $200. So why would you spend $30,000 for this when you can spend $200 for that? Even though I've never used the other product, I've never used the more expensive product, which is blows my mind. Like I don't get it. When I watch a watch video about timepieces, sure, can you get our Patek's like $150,000? Yeah, they're very expensive. These hype watches, but can you get a Casio for like $20 at Walmart? Yes. What's going to tell better time? The $20 watch is going to tell better time. Everybody knows this. It's a quartz watch. Your Casio is going to tell better time, but there's like artistry and there's like handmade movements that go into your Patek. There's materials. There's all kinds of stuff that goes into that. Is it worth $150,000? Yeah, depending on how you asking and how much money they have in the bank account. It's probably affordable to them. It's justifiable for them. Whereas the guy that's living in the Casio world that shops at Walmart, they're never going to go beyond the Casio world. They're never going to want to excel themselves further to get the stuff in the higher end stuff, and then like a Patek or a Rolex or whatever. Um, it's it's kind of like that. Like I don't when I'm frequent in the watch world, like I don't hear that often. But we get it so much in the AV world. It's like it's so bad. It's like disheartening sometimes. Like most of my comments are always so negative, man. It's like the craziest shit. Nothing is wrong with DIY, but if I see something that costs 10 grand and I buy it, you can't be mad. It's my money. Exactly. So many people get pissed off. So many people like to spend your money for you. So many people just like to crap on products that cost X amount of money. Listen, if you don't live in that price bracket, if you're not living in that world, man, there's no need to shit on it. And chances are it's probably better than the shit that you got in your price bracket. I mean, that's why it's in that price bracket. I mean, Kaleidescape gets so much hate. So much hate on the Kaleidescape. Granted, that does cost a lot of money. I would listen. I wouldn't even justify the price of a Kaleidescape, but it exists for a reason. Do I think it's worth like 8-9 grand for a Kaleidescape? Yeah, I don't know about that one, but you know, they get a lot of hate for their shit. But I can see why it costs a lot of money because nobody else does what that particular product does. If there were more products like in a Kaleidescape, they wouldn't be able to price them so high. Like if Apple started doing, like lossless downloads, forget it. Kaleidescape would go out of business so quickly. But since they have like zero competition, it's like they're pricing. They can price it whatever they price it as. It's one of those things, but it's more like a convenience thing, whatever. Like people kind of miss the aspect of like convenient. Like like honestly, really, who the fuck wants to make their own speakers? I know there's a small group of DIY people, but people like me and shit like that. I would much rather enjoy my movies and make my own damn speakers. Like, not only do I have to have like fucking like woodworking tools and stuff like that, that should take time, man. Congrats for all you guys that make your own stuff, but I ain't got time for that shit. When I was younger, listen, when I was younger in car audio, I would make my own subwoofers and all. I would make boxes. I used to fabricate dashboards and Dora panels to fit my speakers in. I used to do the fiberglass and all that shit. I used to sand it. I used to watch all those Soundman videos and everything back when I was not in high school because he was still young too, but all that stuff. That's back when Clarion. Do you guys remember those Clarion Dolby Pro Logic? I think they had like one or two Clarion Pro Logic car head units. Do you guys remember that shit? It had the little faceplate that slid down. There's a little rotary dial in the center. I had that shit back in the day. I had a home theater in my car back in the day. I used to fabricate all that shit. So I get it. That shit's very time consuming. Now in my older age, like I don't know how old these DIY guys are, but in my older age, in my 40s, getting close to 50, I ain't got time for that DIY shit. Like get out of here with all that stuff, man. let me let me just go buy something and enjoy it. None of this DIY, I gotta save my money stuff. Not worried about it. It's just you DIY folks out there, stop trying to shit on people for having the money to buy the nice shit. Like, why do DIY people always gotta shit on other people? It's the craziest shit. Not it's like the DIY people and the internet direct people. YouTube motherfuckers always shitting on people that are buying nice stuff. Blows my mind. Absolutely blows my mind. Kscape will be replaced soon. I love Brandon Lee. I love that your last name is Lee as well. I'm hoping that you're Asian. I love it that you are being the heel in the comment section right now. Kscape will be replaced soon. Just be patient. People have been being patient for 20 years now. Kaleidescape has not been replaced yet. Not yet. The thing is, the behind the scenes stuff where it comes to movie studios and everything, piracy. Um, I don't know if other manufacturers want to deal with all that lockdown DRM stuff that Kaleidescape has had to deal with, but they're the only ones dealing with it right now for the past 20 years. Nobody has stepped up to the plate yet to deal with all the piracy and shit like that, and just being locked down. I mean, a lot of Hollywood, they own Kaleidescape. A lot of Hollywood does. That's why they're in that one position. They're like the soul, not the soul. I mean, you have like Kaleidescape, and then you have other like Red Carpet Cinema or something like that deal with like day and date releases, like actual DCP files. That's a different segment above Kaleidescape. But there's these different segments, man. There's like the ultra high end stuff where you can get the actual cinema files and watch them at your house, and then you have the Kaleidescape version, which is basically physical disc copies, downloadable copies that are legal that you can download. And there's no other. I don't see there being anytime soon, honestly. Especially streaming. Streaming has been taken over. Unless you happen to be blind and you don't follow movies at all or home theater at all. Streaming is taken over. For another company to step up like Kaleidescape to want to deal with all the copyright and all the DRM and all that, I don't see that happening. Whereas streaming is just so much easier for brands to take it up. Brandon Lee builds all this furniture too, since it's even easier. Listen, Brandon Lee, man. Bra- Brandon Lee, if you've got a website where you're selling speakers and stuff, I will promote your speaker. I mean, it seems like you can make your own speakers better than Clips, better than Polk, better than Perlisten, better than Arendelle. It seems like speaker design and everything like that is just like so simple. I would assume that you would have like a website or something where you're selling your wares. I would 100%. I'd be happy to promote it on the website. I have no problem with that. Do the Kaleidescape work internationally? The Kaleidescape, I don't know what countries they work in, but I think recently because of like copyright laws and stuff like that, I think they stopped in maybe like the UK and like in Australia. So for those guys, as far as I know, those guys that live over there have to use VPNs and all that. But no, they don't. But no, they don't do that. What's this? We made vases that were speakers. I don't. Okay, you made vases. Okay, well, drop some links. Let's see what you got there, buddy. Let's see what you got. Oh, so hold on. So Brandon Lee, if you were making, vases that were speakers and all that, clearly you must have some kind of knowledge about how to make speakers, whatever. You must have went to some kind of schooling to know how to make speakers. If you know how to do that, well, actually, just drop your links down below, or else I'm not gonna. I just we're not gonna believe you. Drop some links. Let us know what you did. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to bid you adieu. We're gonna have to move on to some other questions. Hi Shane, did you see Guardians 3? I have not seen Guardians 3, but I am going to see it tomorrow at I think it's a Dolby, I don't know if it's Dolby Cinema 3D, but I know I'm traveling an hour. I'm traveling an hour to go see Guardians tomorrow in 3D because my local cinema has just stopped showing 3D movies. So I've got to like travel to go see this thing in 3D because who knows if it's going to get a 3D home release. I mean, I'm pretty sure it will. I'm gonna have to like import it from like Japan or something, but yeah, I'm gonna go see it tomorrow. I'm excited. I've always liked the Guardians movies. If there's a if I have any faith in Marvel, it would have to be James Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy because Shang-Chi sucked. Um, Spider-Man Into the Multiverse was okay. It was okay. It wasn't the greatest. What else came out recently? Wakanda Forever was absolutely horrendous. Love and Thunder, even worse than Wakanda Forever. Was there something else I'm missing? Oh, actually, I did enjoy Doctor Strange. I like Doctor Strange. I would have to say, out of all the Marvel movies recently, I think right now, I think Doctor Strange is probably my favorite out of everything. I would say Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Multiverse, and then everything else kind of falls below that. And Doctor Strange wasn't even all that good either. but that would be my favorite of all the Marvel movies. But I am certain that Guardians has got to be better than all those movies. Uh, Quantum Mania was a letdown. I love Paul Rudd too. Oh yes, Quantum Mania. Listen, I know a lot of people hated Quantum Mania, but that was I'm gonna say I'm definitely in the minority here, but I liked Quantum Mania more than the other two movies because not only did I feel it was more Star Wars esque, but I felt it was more serious. I felt it would have fit more in the DC lineage of recent Snyderverse movies than the Marvel universe because it was a little bit darker, slightly darker, I guess. It was a little bit more serious than the other Ant-Man movies, and the fact that they threw Modoc in there with that weird stretched out, like the weird stretched out face, which I thought was fucking comedy gold as well. I know people hated that, but I thought that was hilarious. Uh, if you guys had seen Modoc on the Hulu, have you guys seen Modoc on Hulu with the little stop motion animation? I mean, how else are you gonna do Modoc? He's got a giant face. I thought that was fucking funny as hell. I loved Modoc in Quantumania, and then I just love that, and then I love the because if you're gonna be goofy, that's just stupid. That's just stupid goofy, and they know it's stupid goofy because even the CG wasn't even that good at Modoc's face. I think that's part of the joke where they just knew it was so shitty. Like, how you gonna make Modoc? Let's just make it as shitty as possible. So I thought that was hilarious. Um, I don't know what it looks like in 3D, but I can't wait for 3D to come out because I'm pretty sure the 3D would look pretty good on Quantumania. Um, I liked Quantumania actually. You know, now that you mention it, I would say Quantumania, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, Spider Man, and then the rest go below that. Shane, would you recommend the Sony 325 ES for 4,000? Is that 4,000 euros? Listen, I have no idea what the conversion rate is from whatever that is to US dollars, but I'm assuming it's more than $4,000. Correct me if I'm wrong. Type it down in the comment section. The 325 ES, man, I'll tell you what about these Sony projectors this year, or this generation of Sony projectors that isn't like the GTX line. Man, I'm not a fan of any of these Sony projectors this year. The 325 is fine. It's fine and all that. The the 7000 ES is also it's fine as well. But if the 325 ES is 4,000, is that euro? I don't know. Even if it was $4,000, I would say no. If you got the 325 ES for $4,000 US dollars, I would say no. If it was like $2,500, yeah, 325 ES for $2,500 worth it. But everything else, man, no. Like the tone mapping kind of sucks in all of them. The gradation, the color banding in all of them is just bad. If you have a discerning eye for gradation and color banding, all the Sony projectors have it. I don't know why. 325 to 5,000, well, especially 325. The 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 ES laser models have color banding. Like that shit, it's bad, especially for like a $30,000 projector. You can't have that. It's unheard of. Unheard of. So I would say no. For 4,000, unless 4,000 translates to $2,000 to wherever you are. The 3D in Guardians Volume 3 is pretty solid. Lots of well-executed sequences. IMAX is preferred because it was expanded aspect ratio for the entire movie. My buddy of mine went to go see the Guardians 3D, I think, on Wednesday in a non-IMAX theater, and he said that he also got expanded aspect ratio in his non-IMAX theater. So I'm wondering if I'm going to notice that as well. If that's like for every presentation, or if that's just for 3D presentation. So that'd be interesting. That might be an interesting video. Hopefully it's good. Maybe I can do like a separate, because from it seems like people are interested in like theatrical reviews as well. I find that to be interesting. I don't know why, but people do. Sounds like Sony has some work to do to fix their projectors. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. On a Sony side note here, I'm going to be getting. It's kind of been confirmed, but I don't know when it's going to get it released. But for you TV aficionados out there, I should be getting in the 85-inch X95L. I don't know if it's going to be this month or next month or when the release date is, but I'm definitely on the list to get one. Like Sony's going to send it to me. I guess they liked my Sony, AVR 7000 ES review. Oh, kudos to Sony for actually like reaching out. So they're gonna send me the 85-inch 95L, which is the upgraded version of my 85-inch X95K, which I love, by the way. If you missed that video, it's on the channel. I reviewed the 85-inch version. This one is supposedly supposed to be better. Hopefully the backlight is better. But that's coming. The 95 what is it? 95. Hold on. The X95K is going to move into my bedroom. My bedroom, Sony A1. What is it? A1. You can remember the A? Sony's very first OLED. 2016. I still have that in my bedroom. That's going to go. I'm going to give that to my mother. I'm going to give that to my mom. A1E goes to my mom. And then the 95K goes into the bedroom. And the 95L goes into my living room. And the funny thing is, 85 inches is pretty big. When I first got it, I was like, when I first got the 85-inch, I was like, oh my God. I was like, I don't need to go in my home theater anymore because it's like nearly the same size as my projection screen. But it's true, after a while, 85 inches just, I was like, man, 85 inches just seems small nowadays. It's like, I wish it was a little bit bigger. So I still go into the theater for now to get my visual immersiveness on. But that should be coming soon. I'm super excited for that. Hopefully we get it, before everybody else gets it. but I'm excited. I'm excited for the 95L. I know people. Listen, I know people get excited about OLEDs. Every year, people get excited about OLEDs, but I find a really good LED set is more is it just kind of looks more like a movie theater than OLEDs do. Like OLEDs have like this overly exaggerated black levels that, dare I say, kind of crush details. Like OLEDs just kind of crush detail. It's true. They just do, because they're so black. I don't know why people don't ever really talk about that so much. Like if I'm trying to like review a movie and I go look at one of my OLEDs, I'm like, dude, I gotta go back to my projector and the LED set just to verify. Because OLEDs just make black levels look good all the time. I would say that it's not even like a real true representation. So because it's just like elevated blacks all the time. So for me personally, I'm an LED fan. I love a good LED. What do you guys think? Are you guys OLED fans or LED fans? Plus the brightness you get on LED sets. Come on, dude, so good. Ask Matt. Congrats on the Ascendo setup. Can't wait to see what size infrasonic sub you decide to go with. Ooh. Did somebody say I was getting an infrasonic sub? Oh, we'll see. We shall see. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, is it gonna? Oh, you know what? Next thing, let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons, man. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I need to stop doing movie reviews or not because I seem to be getting more views lately on my equipment reviews than the movie reviews. Used to be the other way around. I don't know if it's starting to balance out or not, but which is, I find it strange because like how could you be in the home theater and you only care about equipment and then not about the movies? Very strange. But anyways, so I reviewed Dungeons and Dragons and I saw it at the theater. It's a good movie. Dungeons and Dragons is a good movie. I don't talk about how good or bad the movie is in my reviews, but I'm telling you right now, I found it to be a very fun movie. I enjoyed it immensely. I thought it was way better than I thought it was going to be. I don't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons, but that movie was that's a good movie. It's a fun. It goes back to like, Princess Bride type of thing. Willow, kind of falls into that category, never-ending story type of movie, except with CG. I would put it in kind of like that same category, like fun fantasy adventure. Um, and I think it's a super fun movie, man. I don't know why I didn't get more views on that. And then, the video quality wasn't the best video quality, but for the home theater guys, the audio guys, maybe the best sounding movie I've heard so far this year. Such a good sounding Atmos mix. I mean, I watched it on the Kaleidescape, and man, that shit kind of like, and it was good at my local cinema, but man, it was just better. It was better at home. It sounded better at home. Well, equally as good, if not better at home. Definitely, the bass was better at home. Uh, what a good, fun, solid movie. Um, People are sleeping on it for whatever reason, maybe because they just see Dungeons and Dragons. They're just not, receptive to it. But it's a fun movie. You guys should definitely check it out. It's if you're a streaming person, you'll pick it up on streaming on iTunes or something. It's like $20. So definitely check it out. It's directed by the same guy who made Game Night, which is really good. Should be a fun watch. I love Game Night. Game Night was a great movie. Is that a 4K? As Jason Bateman and the girl from The Notebook, right? Yeah, yeah, Game Night. Oh yeah, Avatar came out. All right, Avatar. I reviewed Avatar as well on the Kaleidescape. And by the way, I think what did Avatar clock in at? I think it was like 106 gigs or something. either like 106 gigs or maybe it was like 117 gigs. I forgot what it was, but I know whatever the file size was, it would not fit on a single 4K disc. So either if this is a Disney disc, they're most likely going to cap it at 66 gigs, or they would have to go 2 discs to maximize the bit rate for it to be the same as Kaleidescape, which is over 100 gigs. So the physical media version of Avatar, if they're gonna keep the track record and keep these Disney movies on 66 gigs discs, they're gonna have to put it on Avatar 2, The Way of Water. They're gonna have to split it up between 2 separate discs. So you're gonna have an intermission somewhere in the physical media copy, which would keep the quality as good as Kaleidescape to maximize bitrate. I did notice that there was a pretty sizable difference going from the digital version over to the Kaleidescape. So if there's a big discrepancy between the very bit rate starved streaming media between the Kaleidescape, I'm sure there's going to be a noticeable difference, very noticeable difference between the Kaleidescape and the physical media if they keep the entire movie on one solid disc. So I have no doubt about that. So I'm just gonna assume that they're gonna split it up between 2 discs whenever the physical media of Avatar, The Way of Water, releases, because it's a long movie. Whether or not there's gonna be a 3D version, I heard there's supposed to be a 3D version. I don't know if it's true or not, but I hear there's supposed to be a 3D version. I don't know why Cameron would not allow there to be a 3D version, because we have Avatar 1 in 3D. I think it came in a combo pack, if I'm not mistaken. So I think the last movie from 20th Century Fox was 3D combo pack was maybe Alita Battle Angel. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think that might have been the last 3D 4K combo pack from Fox, which I think was pre Disney? I don't know, but I think it might have been pre-Disney. So who knows what it's going to be like when it comes out the next month or two. I think some on the forums and online chatter, the Avatar 1 and 2 is supposed to come out sometime in June. I think next month, like June 30th or something like that. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, but as of right now, we'll just briefly touch on the quality on the Kaleidescape. I thought the video quality was great. Equally as good as the first movie. Well, equally as good, if you're really going to the fine detail, the nuances of the CG textures on skin and everything like that. Better. They're a little bit better on part 2 for sure. Because I went and rewatched the first one when I came home from watching part 2, and you can tell the difference between the I think it just comes down to like texture refinement in part 2 than part 1. So that was a huge difference. The 3D quality between home 3D and then the cinematic 3D, I would say it was kind of the same. I didn't, unless we're talking about the high frame rate 3D, which I thought looked awesome, by the way. I know some people don't like high frame rate, but I thought high frame rate in 3D, those specific scenes looked great. It's like turning on soap opera effects, motion interpolation on your display, minus the ghosting trail every time something moved. I was a fan of that. I thought it definitely brought a different level of realism to the 3D that we haven't gotten since maybe The Hobbit. I know that's not going to come to the 3D version. I know there's not going to be a 4K 3D version either, so you're only going to have to experience that in 3D at the cinemas. But as far as back to the 4K version, I don't think we're not going to get a high frame rate version of Avatar. I don't think that's happening. The video quality was great. I love the video quality on the Kaleidescape, and the audio quality I thought could have been better, which it's gonna sound exactly the same on physical media when that comes out, which definitely could have been better. If you missed the video, you can see that it's It's not exactly the most dynamic mix out there. But, those are my thoughts on Avatar in 4K. I'm very interested to see how Disney approaches the physical release of Avatar 2: The Way of Water. But what do you guys think? Is Disney going to opt for two discs, or are they going to put Avatar: The Way of Water on one disc? Leave your comments down below and let me know. So Avatar, thank you for the reminder on that. I did not have that on my little topic list. But, oops, let me hide that comment. Let's go on to the giveaway. I reviewed the Golden Ear Force Field 40 subwoofer. Listen, this was like last month. Last month it was like the month of subwoofer reviews for me. I was trying to knock out as many subwoofers as I could. So I reviewed the Golden Ear subwoofer. I'm not going to talk about how good or bad it was, or it's a good subwoofer. It's a little small 10-inch one. But we are giving away a Audio Quest. Let's bring it up here. We're gonna give away an Audio Quest. Let's type it up here. Irish Red subwoofer cable. We're gonna give away a 3-meter one, which is I have no idea how long 3 meters is. I'm sure one of you guys will know how long 1 meter is, but we're gonna give away 3-meter Audio Quest subwoofer cable, courtesy of me and more like courtesy of Audio Quest, which is gonna be this guy here. I actually have one of these. I've had one of these for a while actually. Let's go. Which is this one. It's red. It almost kind of looks like their cinnamon cable. It's got the red and black braiding. But listen, if you guys have not already seen that video, go watch it. Go comment on it, because we're gonna pick out a random comment there in that video, and then we're gonna pick a winner. One of you guys are gonna get a free Irish Red subwoofer cable. It's an RCA cable with the little ground connector on the cable as well. So if you have a AVR with the little ground screw on the back, you would take the little ground connection there on the cable and ground it to that grounding screw on your AVR. That is like $100 and some value. I don't know how much it costs, but it's like $160 value or something like that. And who doesn't like free gear? It's a free cable. And 3 meters is 9.8 feet, which is pretty long. So definitely check out that video. That is the Golden Ear Force Field 40. Check out that video. Go check out Audio Quest and check out Golden Ear as well. They've teamed up. Check them out on Instagram. Follow them on Instagram, where you can get an extra entry if you comment on their video and post there as well. So, yeah, man, do it. I'm a fan. I like Golden Ear products. They're not crazy expensive, and the only thing I wish they would do is maybe switch up the design a little bit. I mean, the design's getting a little bit old, but definitely check that out, man. Give it away. Who doesn't like a free subwoofer cable? William, did you have the XXL in your system? Its size and not black box subwoofer. It helps with the fam. That is correct. I did have the XXL. I did have the XXL in my home theater. I had 2 of them actually. Wait, did I have 2 of them? Yeah, I had 2 of them actually. I reviewed that last year at some point in time. So I like the only thing I hated about the XXL was the glossy finish. I hate all subwoofers that are glossy. Like the entire thing was glossy. It's like you always had to pick it up, because it was such as like a small, cute, shiny, weird hexagonal shape type of design. I don't know if it's a hexagon or not, but had had those weird angles, and I really I dug the way it looked. I just wish it didn't have that insane mirror finish. Because the second you would touch it or just wipe it, it would get micro abrasions and scratches on it, which I hated it. Which by the way, now that we're talking about micro scratches and abrasions, do you guys do you guys coat your speakers like with you guys with glossy speakers? Do you put any kind of coating on those speakers to keep the scratches away? Because I picked up this little $25 bottle of ceramic coating, which I also used on my car, by the way. I took a little bottle of ceramic coating and I coated the Perlison speakers. And I have like, aside from the few micro scratches that I had when I took them out of the box, I haven't had a single scratch on it since day one. Afterwards, and I clean that thing like all the time. I clean it at least a couple times a week just to get the dust off of it with the microfiber cloth. Sometimes I don't even like get a free. I don't even get a fresh cloth. I use the same one from the week before, which has dust on it, and I wipe it down. I wipe down the sides. I wipe down the top, and I haven't had a scratch since. I mean, this is the only glossy speaker that I've had that has not accrued a spider web full of micro abrasions all over it. The only one, only because I ceramic coated it, which I think if you guys value the looks of your speakers and you have these glossy speakers, SVS, Bowers and Wilkins, CAF, $25 bottle of ceramic coating makes a big difference, and it's super easy to do. I like coating on it. Let it flash dry. You get a little rainbow effect, start to dry. Take the little microfiber cloth, wipe it clean. Dude, you're good to go. Pick up some of this turtle wax, ceramic infused, polish. You can finish it off every once in a while, just to keep it nice and slick. And the thing is, they're really slick, super slick to the touch. World of difference, man. World of difference. I was gonna make a video on it. Maybe I still will. So we'll see. I think it makes a big difference for glossy speakers. Have you finished reviewing the Denon A1H? How you would compare it to the AV10? I haven't listened to the AV10. I haven't listened to the AV10 in my home theater, and I'm not done reviewing the Denon A1H. Right now, I've got the Denon hooked up to my two-channel setup, so I've just been evaluating that for two-channel stuff, just to listen to the sound signature. And I'm not gonna really say how it sounds, but it's a good sounding AVR. It's got some really cool features on it. It's got like the directional bass and direct and all that stuff. So I mean, that's there. So I mean, right now it's a solid AVR. I dig it. It's been in my living room for about a month now, so that'll come out. I'll try to wrap it up with probably like another week or two. So definitely be on the lookout for that. That was a smart move with coding. I have some friends who have done that with various things. One even coated the deck of their lawnmower. Yes, ceramic coating, and people don't talk about it. But ceramic coating is it makes a big difference. Yep, seen that in car detail videos. Looks good there. Because a lot of these, you know, the speaker manufacturers, they use like that automotive coating. So, and it just kind of makes sense to use ceramic coating on the paint job. I don't know why they don't come like factory with like a ceramic coating. I would assume it wouldn't be that hard to implement. No Atmos effect with the whistle spear thing. No Atmos with the whistle spear thing. I'm not sure what that means. Uhara. So it works on most plastics. Does it work on plastics? I think it does work. I think it says on the box. I think plastics is. I think it did say plastic on the box, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. I'm not a car detailer, but I think it did say plastics on it. Urahara 12, Guardians 3. Oh, the whistle spear thing. Oh, you mean the Kragen's whistle spear. I guess I'll find out tomorrow. I don't know. I guess I'll find out tomorrow. I'll look out for it now. I guess thanks for the heads up. What next did I have on the list here? The Ascendo sub. I got two more things. So I reviewed the Ascendo subwoofer, the Ascendo subwoofer, the SV12, as well a couple weeks back. The I had reviewed the Ascendo 18-inch sub, I think 2 years ago. It was like the SMS or SMSG 18, which is a massive subwoofer, by the way. Huge subwoofer. The cool thing about that subwoofer is that it had the built DSP that was really highly configurable if you had a PC hook connected up to it. So it's kind of like having direct or just built-in PQs on the subwoofer itself. So that was cool. And I got to hear the 80-inch subwoofer, but the 12-incher is more like it's not part of like their more like custom install home theater range. It's kind of like an SVS. I'm gonna say it falls into the same category as the SVS, like 2000, 3000. So I got to review that one, and it's a good subwoofer. It's good, kind of like a good entry level into the Ascendo subwoofer world, but it wasn't like a world. It wasn't like anything like extravagant or anything like that. It's just entry level, safe subwoofer you would put in like your living room, or just like an everyday type of subwoofer. I would say just do it all kind of SVS type of subwoofer. Everything from like probably a 3000 and below, 3000, 2000, 1000 SVS subwoofers. This is where that Ascendo subwoofer would kind of slot in. Decent subwoofer, but obviously I think most people would be more interested in their infrasonic subwoofers, which I hopefully get maybe a 24 or 32 inch in soon, depending how we can manage the transportation between then and there and here to my place. So be on the lookout for that one. I'm super excited to check out one of these infrasonic subwoofers from them. I think that would be truly end game level, a type of subwoofer / review. So I can't wait for that. And then of course I reviewed the Perlisten R210 subwoofer. I don't know, man. First off, all their subwoofers are definitely pricey. There's no doubt about it. Perlisten has pricey speakers and subwoofers. There's no getting around it. But their biggest thing is that the amplifiers that they use in it will just basically, before distortion hits, it'll like analyze the excursion before it actually hits and keep it from over excursion, and keep the distortion down to the absolute minimum. So it's got like super fast processor. I forgot what chip they use in it, but whatever their processing chip in their DSP amplifiers is supposed to be like the best of the bunch, with the lowest distortion like measured for any subwoofer. I think that's verified on the Audioholics D215 subwoofer review. And the the little 10. I mean, it's not super small, but it's not big either. It's very manageable. I've been contemplating whether or not I would like to keep and own the R210s because they're fucking really good subwoofer. It's got dual 10s in there. It's a sealed push pull configuration. It in my room it went down to 7 hertz. But here's the thing: even though it goes down to 7 hertz, people can look at graphs and be like, it goes down to 7 hertz. Oh, must be the most amazing thing in the world. But even though it goes down to like 7 hertz, it's not like a meaningful 7 hertz. So it's not like rattling my organs or anything like that. It doesn't move my pant legs. So the measurements that I took, even though it's a 7 hertz, it's not a meaningful 7 hertz, if you know what I'm talking about. Whereas on the D215s, there's a meaningful output down there. But as far as tactile response and just like impact and everything like that, the R210s is quite an agile little subwoofer. Not only do you get like just the speed and kind of like the impactfulness of like a single 12 or 15 incher, but it's just like such a nimble little subwoofer. And you get the DSP in there, you get the PEQ adjustments, you get all that good stuff. It's a good looking sub too. I like their sub designs on the smaller subwoofers, but I kind of don't like it on their bigger subwoofers. If that makes sense. But definitely, man, if you guys are in the market for a small sub that's very audiophile-esque quality, it's probably one of the best. Maybe it's definitely the best 10 incher that I've heard. 100%. Best 10-inch subwoofer that I've heard is that subwoofer. And it just performs a lot better than bigger subwoofers do. And I've reviewed a lot of subwoofers. And that is I think that's it. Golden Air Ice Acoustics. What do you guys feel about it? Pro Listen subwoofers? Leave your comments down below. All right, so that's it for my topics. I don't think I have anything else to talk about unless you guys got something. Otherwise, we're gonna call this a day. What else do I have here? Ascendo. Oh, one more thing. Let me bring this up. The Valencia Barcelona seats. I know some of you guys have seen these seats in the past because this is not a new revelation. It's not a new design in the furniture world. Like, these seats have been around. Like, this type of seat has been around for a while. These are the Valencia Barcelonas, which, their claim to fame is that they have a very, 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 very low back, something like 20 some inches from the floor to the back of the seat. Then I think it raises up to 33 inches, which for someone, about under 5'10", 5'11", it would come, if you raise the headrest, it would come just to maybe the top of your head. If you're 6 feet, then obviously if you had the headrest raised all the way to the top, it would probably come up to your shoulder blades or right at the base of your neck. So I think there was some confusion when I did that review where I said that it was recommended for people under like 5'10" or 5'11". At the lowest point with the headrest all the way down, if you are if you're like, even if you're my height, 5'8", 5'9", even with the headrest all the way down like it is right now in the photo, at a very long duration, if you're watching a movie for like an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes you want to get that extra support kind of like on your back, kind of like where the top of your shoulders are. I mean, most people probably don't think about this until they actually sit in something like this. But if you can't get some support to like maybe the bottom of your neck, where your entire back is just resting against the backrest, it can get a little bit fatiguing. But if you want to kind of get a little bit more back support without raising the headrest all the way up to cover your ears, you can just slightly raise it up, and because the back headrest is so thick, it'll hit it'll hit your shoulder blades. So you can really just kind of just lean back, and your shoulder blades would just be nice and relaxed. And the only thing you're moving is your head. So your head is still free to listen to anything, and it's not obscured by the headrest. And then, of course, if you want to raise the headrest up to cover your ears so you can get full head support, you can do that. But, the big thing with this one is these are definitely my most favorite seats that I've had in my theater so far. These go above my Salamander Talia seats, which I think they come like right at my ears. And the only thing with Talia, the Salamander seats is like the leather quality is definitely better. The leather quality is better on the Salamander seats. It's a kind of it's a thicker leather. This one is a bit more pliable. It almost feels like it's suede-esque. It's got a buttery softness to it. And if you are in the home theater, if you're in the home theater at all, I know a lot of people don't think about it, but you should think about it. When you cover your ears and you have some really nice fancy back speakers, um, they're obscured by your headrest. Everybody wants to kick back and relax, maybe take a nap when they're watching a movie, whatever. That's all fine and dandy. You can still do that with these seats. But you also have the option to drop down the headrest where they do not cover your ears, and you will hear the full potential of your system. So when people go shopping for seats, I get it. You want to be super comfortable. You can still be super comfortable with these. That's why they have the very adjustable headrest, which raises up and down. But also, if you just really want to be, you want to get that audiophile experience, you want to hear what's going on actually in the soundtrack, because I know most of you guys out there, probably like 99% of you guys out there, unless you're like over 6 foot and your head rested and your head's above the seat rest, you're missing out on a lot of immersiveness by covering up your ears. So it's like, if you cover up your ears from here, you're not really your back speakers aren't really hitting you right. They're bouncing off the back of your seat, and you're just kind of missing it. A seat like this makes a big difference in your home theater. And not only audibly it makes a big difference, but if you were to get a low back seat like this, um, when you walk into your room, it just feels like your room's bigger because it's not you don't have so much headrest kind of like obscuring your visuals going into your room, if that makes sense. If you guys know what I'm talking about, it just seems to open up the space a lot more. So visually, I think it makes a big difference as well. Aesthetically, it makes a big difference. So if you guys are in the market for a seat, I would say you got to consider these ones. Don't just go for the seats that everybody's talking about right now. Those Tuscany seats. And listen, I've reviewed the Tuscany seats and the Oslo seats, and they're comfy seats. 100%, they're comfy seats. But I've always hated those seats. That's why you've never seen those seats other than in the my initial review video. You've never actually did I even review those in my theater? You've never seen those seats in my theater because those are not an ideal unless you're tall. If you're tall, okay, that's fine. If you're like 6 foot and below, then they're not the ideal theater seat. This would be the ideal theater seat. That's if you value your audio experience. These are the seats to get. People should really think about getting these low back seats that do not cover your headrest. Again, I'm gonna just preface this by saying I'm gonna say that If you're not like a tall guy, if you're a tall guy, you don't have to worry about it because there's not too many seats that cover your head. But if you're like 6 foot and under, these are the seats to do it. These are the seats to get. I can't think of another seat that's better. All right, that's it. That's it. That's my seat rant. That's my seat rant for now. I'm done with that. If you guys got any other questions, let's hang out for like in a few more minutes. Patrick Tony, what's up, Patrick Tony? Patrick Tony is a YouTube member. If you guys want to be a YouTube member, we get member subscriptions on the channel as well. You can join for as little as $2 a month. If you want to support the channel any further, hit me up. You guys want to message me and stuff like that, you can hit me up and message me on the YouTube membership, also on the Patreon membership also. That's on YouTube. So yes, you can't stand the Tuscany seats. Listen, the Tuscany seats, the Oslo seats, not exactly my type of style either. They're not my type of style. They're comfy seats, but they're not exactly the most attractive. Subjective. That's just my subjective take. Dylan Vela, Procella versus Alcons versus Ascendo versus Perlit. 1, 2, 3, 4 for movie watching only. That's 4 speakers, my man. You're asking me to compare 4 speakers. That would take a little bit more thought. But right now, for movie watching only, the speakers that I have in my theater are the Ascendos. So I guess that would be the answer to your question. Need a slim version of these. Ridiculous. They are so spacious. Yeah, they're big. They actually are very big. Listen, those seats are big depth wise. I think because the headrest has to be so long. So it's like when their headrest goes down, it's like that deep. That probably doesn't seem that big. What I'm doing right here, it doesn't seem that big. But when you're sitting down and it's against your wall or whatever, or your riser pushes your seat not only from here to there, so you're missing a good distance there. And when I put those seats in my theater, it pushed me like I don't have a big room. My room is not that big. And when I put those seats in there, it went from being that far from the screen to that far from the screen. So now I'm just way closer. And the only thing I could do to combat that, to offset that distance, is every time I watch a movie, I can't be sitting upright. Because a lot of the times when I watch something, I like to sit upright because, just for back health, I like to sit upright. But in order for me to kick my head back, I've got to recline all the way back, which takes it, and it, obviously tilts it all the way back. So now your head is back here, which aligns it to where my original head used to be at a seated position. So, if you got a small room, then the depth of those seats becomes a factor. Especially in my videos now, because sometimes subwoofers, they stick out, so they're so big. Like the subwoofer looks like it's touching it looks like it's touching the armrest on the seat now, because the seats come out so far. So it's like if I shoot a video, it's like I gotta shoot the video in a certain way where it doesn't look like the room is so small. What's this up? Dynaudio versus Focal Aria for both music and home theater. Well, I've only heard the Dynaudio Contour and the Dynaudio Heritage. I've not heard the Focal Aria. Actually, never heard the Focal Aria. I've heard the Focal Aria, but only in a showroom. So I haven't heard the Focal Aria in my space. So I can't say for sure how the Dynaudio would compare to the Focal Aria. But I can say that I'm not a fan of any of the Dyna Audio speakers that do not use their SO, what is it, the SOTAR 3 tweeter. I think that 'cause the SOTAR 3 tweeter is much better than whatever's in that contour. So if you're talking about just like detail and transparency, their SOTAR 3 tweeter is better, much more detailed, more refined sounding tweeter than what's in their lower end models. The Focal Arias, listen, I don't know. I mean, if those are beryllium tweeters, then they probably got to be pretty good. But I can't really say what I would choose between those two. I can only tell you what I would choose between the different Dyna Audio models. How far is the back of your seat to your screen? The back of my seat to my screen is probably about 9 feet. Yeah, I think it's about 9 feet from seat to screen. So it's not super far. I think there's a question earlier here about the Dragon. Since you're going to review the Dragon, have you reviewed the Nakamichi Shockwave Ultra 924? I've not reviewed any of those. No, I haven't reviewed any of the Nakamichi soundbars. They have not sent me. They haven't sent me any of theirs. So, no, I haven't. I haven't checked out any of the Nakamichi soundbars. I was supposed to review them a couple of years back when they first came out, but that went through, so I did not review any of those. But I think that's I think we're gonna call it a night here. Let me see, unless I missed something. Oh, one more thing before I log off here. The movie 65 should be coming out on 4K pretty soon as well. So if you guys had missed out on that movie, which I thought was pretty decent. When I went to go see 65 at the theater, I missed the first, I think, like 5 minutes of 65. And I thought it was, I like the twist at the end. I don't want to say what the twist is just in case you guys had missed it. But, so watching the movie, I saw it at the movie theater. I got to the end and I was like, oh, wow. I was like, oh, I get it. There's a little Shyamalan twist at the end of this movie. And then I reviewed it. And then I watched it at home. I watched it on digital. And then I was like, oh my God. I was like, they give you the entire twist at the start of the movie. Like they literally spell it out for you in text at the start of the movie. And I was like, wow. I was like, that ruins the entire movie for you. That literally ruins the entire movie. Like the surprise ending. What would have been a surprise ending. Like they tell you exactly why Adam Driver is on this planet, which didn't make any sense whatsoever. But I'm glad that I got to see 65 without knowing the payoff at the end. But all right, I'm going to log off. Thanks, guys, for hanging out with me today. I think we're going to do another live stream with Don and maybe the rest of the guys probably this week. I'm trying to think of, do we have anything else coming up? I can't think of anything else. But thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video.